The picture on the front of this, these are people from Hood River and some of the evidence from Hood River. First of all, Brent Allen. This is a guy who had assaulted one of the men there. There's actually a video of him asking me for a ride to the hospital. Yeah, his name is Michael, and he was dating Stephanie Cartwright, I think is what her name was. Her brother had taken some brass knuckles, I saw them, they're painted black, and punched Michael in the head. The story was that Stephanie claimed that Michael had raped her. The next day, him and Stephanie were back together. They're all drug addicts. They're all homeless. They all live down by where people go with their kids. Laura Moran is another one of the people involved in that. She's supposed to be the community liaison for one of the services up there. I went to that lady who runs the service as a mandated reporter, and what'd she do? I've never met her. The lady that I was talking to over the phone, never met her. The lady who was Laura Moran's boss, I met her in person. I told them both what was going on. And Laura Moran, I got a lot of recordings on my channel with Laura passing by looking for meth, going to find more meth, talking about meth and about how she's a meth addict. And I couldn't explain the situation about how meth heads are not useful because they're basically just always on the search for more meth. See, that's what makes meth so dangerous, is that people who are on meth want to do more meth while they're on meth. Oh. Disgusting. So, the picture in the center of the two, in between Brent Allen and Stephanie Cartwright, I had to try to find this guy's name and look him up because the cops didn't want to do their jobs there. They wanted to send me around in circles to their version of Tillamook Family Counseling Center. Every single agency nationwide is doing this to the homeless. Easy tax dollars. I mean, we are big fucking business. Big business. Alright. I was hoping the owl would just flown overhead because I saw a little glimpse of white. But you know what that white was? Here, let me turn it the other way. Oh, that didn't work. It's that thing. Where I'm sitting, it just barely flops down sometimes. Alright, so Brent Allen, they'd heard what happened to Natalie, and him and a couple of his buddies were threatening to kill me. Now, one of the ladies that's there, and I have her recorded on my audio recording device. Well, it's on my computer, but I record it with this. It's audio only. I got multiple recordings with hospitals that I released to the internet here. Is it okay to release victims' information? Yes. Yes. depending on the situation and the severity. Now, on a moral ground, is it wrong to expose the victim to ridicule? I do believe so. Just nobody cares, though. But it's not just ridicule. Enough ridicule turns into physical harm. Enough exposure, such as the many, many, many so-called Natalie Bollinger true crime things that are popping up all over the place, and thank goodness they are. I don't expect I'll ever get an apology out of a single one of them. Just like the courts, the police, my friends, the news. Nobody cared about my side. Now, in the beginning, before they found Lopez, they wanted my side. And I tried so hard to get it to them, but my friends were harming me and preventing me from doing that. Or my so-called friends. They didn't give a fuck what kind of a mess they were making of things. They weren't fucking listening to me. They were deciding what's best for me without any fucking information whatsoever. People were deciding my life for me with no thought for the consequences. The road to hell is paved in good intentions. Of course, their actions show that they didn't have good intentions. Their words show that they didn't hear what I had to say. Our recordings show that even if I tell somebody 100 times I'm fucking disabled, I'm not capable, I don't get to explain any further why. Because they're already treating me like a retard who doesn't know what fucking pain is. See, the term mentally ill is used to cast doubt. What are you supposed to do when your friend or family comes to you and tells you that they're being harmed? Listen and believe. If they tell you that they're being abused and that there's evidence, help them. God damn it, you pieces of fucking shit. You listen to all these fucking pussies out here who won't help another motherfucker out. You listen to them talking about how they're gonna, but they just never get around to it. And the longer they procrastinate, the longer it takes to get it turned in. Because I have to worry about being ignored and blown off illegally when I turn these crimes in. I have to worry about my disabilities being taken advantage of. I have to worry about open hostility from the people who work at those places. With as few cops as they have in Tillamook, Oregon, the hospital staff probably know every single officer here by name. They probably go to the same churches. And I probably don't give a fuck because the law says that they have to turn it in anyway. We're not talking about just a $2,000 fine here, though, because it's not just failure to report. It's also failure to keep the victim safe or the witnesses safe. I'm going to show Dallas a lot of stuff that's pretty important. I'm going to be able to do so in person, and I can probably explain it while I'm making sure that I send stuff to his email and also to these other email addresses. We'll make it a string. You know what's real fucked up? Megan Mistigatis had the evidence that I was trying to turn into the Nebraska State Patrol, and she had the instructions to turn it into the Nebraska State Patrol. And she literally made zero effort to do that at any point in time, and then she made every effort to try to destroy it. She knew that Amanda Daniels wasn't going to do it because I explained it to Megan Mistigatis. I got a bunch of that stuff recorded. I also have to try to maintain under a situation of extreme panic. When I say that I'm having communication issues and the lady that I'm talking to is going to interrupt me and say that I sound like I'm doing fine, no, understand that if I'm telling you that I'm not communicating properly with you, you need to listen to that and understand it. If I am in a state of panic, I might be telling you a story about Sarah Nelson, and it's an important story. But I know Laura Nelson better, so I might accidentally say Laura Nelson. If you go through the evidence of me trying to just explain it from a state of panic like this, where I don't have the evidence in front of me to look at, I cannot record while I'm looking at the evidence, which is what needs to happen. It also needs to be noted all of the things that have been done to prevent this information from going where it needs to about the abuse that's been happening. Instead of helping me to turn it into the agencies that it needs to go to, I'm lied to about that by all of the agencies who are supposed to do something. GCCHC doesn't want the burden of being the mandated reporters. They send me to the cops, but they don't mind profiting off of me, so might as well hook me up with therapy. And we'll put Sean on a housing list for ever and a day. By the time I actually get into housing, I will literally be dead. How much of this hell do you think that people can take? That lady Lori, she's pretty nice, isn't she? Those of you who paid attention. She also really is a handful. I mean, as in, she doesn't have the ability to not be talking. You know, when I was over there, I was able to have a good conversation with her son. Her youngest son. A hell of a good conversation. He's bright. Real bright. People just don't get it. Not everybody who's autistic has a high IQ. And not every autistic person with a low IQ is stupid. Just saying. And he understands what I mean when I talk about how people think autism is retardation, and it's not. We're all different. Now when Lori showed up, she talks a lot. Oh my God, does she talk a lot. But you know what? I've been through a lot of trauma myself, and you get to hear how I don't shut up. I'm in a constant state of fear. I know that if I don't speak up, my story will not be able to help others, will not help to stop this abuse. You know what the trick to stopping this massive hemorrhage is? If you set aside plots of land for the homeless, we can take able-bodied and non-able-bodied peoples, and I can teach them how to make a self-sustaining society. Now you might say, well, how does that help the rest of us? Well, first of all, it stops a bleeding hemorrhage of fucking cash going through the court systems because the courts don't give a fuck about them. Going through the hospitals because the hospitals don't give a fuck about them. Going through the police because the police don't give a fuck about them. The homeless have to be mortified with the public for a reason. Police will commit felony after felony after felony to get rid of homeless people in public areas so you don't have to see them. If you don't see them, out of sight, out of mind. They say, oh, we're putting them in programs to help them, but they're not. Each and every one of these counties has rubber stamps. What is that? It's a reference to somebody that they can walk to. Walk to is another slang term that means that they have somebody as a doctor or a nurse who they tell something and the nurse will just write it down. Basically an inside man. Now the fact that my evidence shows this is fucking amazing. It's phenomenal that so many people would pull something so incredibly stupid knowing that it's an easy mistake to catch. And an easy mistake for a lot of people to go to prison over. The evidence with myself and Miss Peaches and Alyssa Rainwater and her mother, the conversations show with them and with Amanda Jonas that I was telling the truth. You also get to see with Amanda Jonas that when she realized she'd gotten busted and she was facing prison time if anybody listened, well, hell yes, she did the intelligent thing and cut off contact. That's what should have happened right from the start when I called to have somebody investigate those officers and Tim Beeson and Ted Bollinger and Alicia Bollinger. See, that's the thing. I never stopped trying to get a court date against my fucking predators. When they were predatory towards my friends and my family, or random nut jobs who offered to help off of the internet, and these people were all getting a hold of me and letting me know that people were threatening to kill them and their family, that's something that should have been taken seriously. The fact that Boulder Police repeatedly obstructed justice to prevent me from doing what it is that the police officers, assholes, dick detectives, Jai Rogers and Mark Peterson, they operated under color of law because I didn't have a friend or family member in person. They just pull their sleight of hand, as Marcia Estrada calls it. She's familiar with their tactics and tricks, and I'm familiar with bypassing them. You really going to make a Jew go to Hitler to turn in Hitler? You really going to send me to Officer Schneider to turn in Officer Schneider? Because that's what they did in Washington State, Tacoma, on 72nd. There's a video on my channel of a guy at a bus stop with a heroin needle in his arm, passed out. And in that very same video, within about 10 seconds of that, there's a guy who tells me he knows where my computer's at, and he takes me to go get it. This is a drug addict who takes me to go get my computer. From a man who I had been kind to and let use my computer so that he could talk to his family, contact his family with an email. He stole it. He fucking stole it. Why did a meth addict help me to get my computer back? Because I explained to him that it's got evidence of bad cops and child molesters and rapists in it. The problem is I had to be afraid to go to them alone. You know what the most fucked up part about that was? All that evidence was getting stolen. My dad was less than 2 miles away. Over and over again, when my dad could have done something, he did the most evil and cruel thing that he could have done. He did that while I was in Hood River after being poisoned by Brent Allen. There's a man named Daniel who's a witness to the situation. The officer I tried to turn it into, or sheriff's department deputy that I tried to turn it into, I recognized him as one of Dean's predators. So when I tried to turn it into him, his comments definitely made me aware that I needed to not be there. I knew better than to push the issue. I wanted him to test the cup of Pepsi Cola to see if there was methamphetamines in it. That guy who threatened to kill me, he came by while I was sitting with, not Dean, Daniel. He said he was sorry, and the guy that he was walking with, him and that guy were, well, he was trying to apologize, and it was a fucking hot day there, like it was today. I got videos where I was complaining about the heat. So he gave me a well-intentioned gift, apparently. He went and got me a Dr. Pepper in a cup and dumped a shit ton of fucking meth in it, and it was so hot I fucking chugged a ton of it. I'm not sure if you guys have seen me drink. I chug. That's the only time ever in the history of my life that I've ever had a whiz quiz that was dirty for methamphetamines. I went to the hospital. They did not follow the rules and regulations. Instead of them doing what they're supposed to do, the reason that I went to them and explained to them, and they made me do it myself like they're doing here. They're not assisting me. They're trying to pawn me off on their buddies. They've been doing this for years to the homeless, nationwide. I can't feel sorry for any black person who wants to complain if they say that they are the most victimized in this country, because not by a long shot. Men, first of all. The homeless, per capita, are at the very top of the list. The homeless are, in Los Angeles, over twice as likely to be killed by people in houses as the other way around. That's not true, is it? Because we know that some of them homeless people killed other homeless people. And still, with that statistic of homeless people on homeless people crime as a part of that, how do we know that it's not the homeless in that statistic? Well, because mathematically, the people that are getting busted are primarily people in houses. You guys bully the homeless over and over and over. It is fucking relentless. It is relentless. While it's illegal to harass somebody, they have to make special laws to make it illegal to harass homeless people. As evil as you are, we have to accept that evil from black people in houses. And we are told that we need to go to the back of the bus, so to speak. That I, because of the color of my skin, am responsible for every bad thing that ever happened to a black person in their life. You tell me that I have to be responsible for my actions, and I am. I'm the only person who is. The only person who is. These guys are trying to pretend that I'm so mentally ill that I don't know up from down, left from right. Well, I'm being physically and psychologically tortured by jail and prison guards, and they get to retaliate against me for telling on them. And it's their friends and their coworkers that get to investigate them. Sarah Nelson was one of the people that I had to write to about being sexually assaulted in the prison. Guess what she's in prison for? She was the assistant warden, the peer support lady. She's in prison for sexual assault against an inmate. What the fuck is wrong with you people? I post the victims up for a reason. I post their words up for a reason. Natalie Bollinger had actual predators. And her predators came after me too. That was their way back into her life, to play on her drug-induced fucking paranoia. And so did her fucking parents. Both before and after her death, her family did everything that they could to protect the predators in Natalie's life and mine. These women didn't want to take responsibility. Women, that's right. Us girls got to stick together, right? Unless Natalie Marie Bollinger is being raped by her father and her uncle. The evidence shows I kept all of them safe. and that I had to keep my people safe from them, because none of those children who show up understand the gravity of the situation for us. Yes, they have just as much of a right to be there as I do. It's public property. The heroin junkies that they're hanging out with have just as much right to hang out there too. But you don't differentiate one homeless person from another. You don't even try. Natalie Bollinger thought she was in love with me because I was the only good man that she ever knew. You guys pretend I'm some sort of a monster because I reacted to abuse and neglect. When my things were stolen, and I knew exactly who stole them, and I went to my friends and family about it, my older brother and many others, they didn't give a shit. When I told them that the police wouldn't leave me alone and I couldn't walk a block without assistance, a whole 6 months of my back being fucked up. My older brother came and saw me once. He wanted me to smoke some pot that had cat hair in it. Looked like fucking cilantro. My brother's fucking brains were so fucking gone from smoking meth. Natalie's brain was so fucking gone from smoking meth. Alicia's brain was so fucking gone from smoking meth. Ted Bollinger's brain completely fucking gone from smoking meth. Danica Garner completely fucking her head up smoking meth. Rochelle Shelley Campbell fucking her head up smoking meth. And because they're women, we're supposed to feel sorry for them. They're victims, aren't they? What do you tell a man in that situation? You tell him it's his fault. All it would have taken was one friend to help me to turn it in. Not procrastinate, not waste time. Every time one of these fucking people threatened my life or made another fucking profile to harass me in emails or fucking assaulted me for going and seeing my friends and family in Boulder, I spoke up. I always went to someone. There is so much evidence that I went to the people that I was supposed to for help. There's also evidence that these mandated reporters were angry at me for telling the truth, retaliated against me for telling the truth. Look at Veronica Bruce. And look what she did when she did wrong, and she forced me to post it up in public to protect my loved ones. Not just myself. These predators like Tim Beeson have been threatening to kill me and my friends and family since the end of 2016. The assaults in Boulder, Colorado by Matty Boa's meth customers Legally, it's assault. I already knew that the cops weren't going to fucking care. They never do. They don't care about crimes that are committed against a hobo. If a hobo calls it in, they will blow him off and let it happen again and again and again and again, and you get to see this. This shouldn't have been done on YouTube and Facebook. My entire life, people have been allowed to harm me over the term mentally ill. But never, ever, in the entire history of my life, has a single mandated reporter done their job for me. Every single one of them thought that it was optional. They're not used to people recording them. They're used to lying to people and people being too stupid to record it, or too mentally fucking retarded to realize that they can look it up now at their fingertips right fucking now. I can't do that when I have to use the telephone for making these calls. I just recently got a flip phone. It doesn't work for fucking shit. You get to see how much money Oregon is fucking wasting. These phone companies are fleecing the American public, especially disabled people, being given substandard shit that is broken and doesn't fucking work. Used shit that doesn't work. I can buy a brand new fucking smartphone from Walmart. Month by month phone. A brand new fucking smartphone for 40 fucking bucks. For $25 more. Get it hooked up for an entire month. That fucking piece of shit goddamn flip phone cost you stupid shits $125 and it's fucking used. It's a piece of shit. You say, hey, you shouldn't complain about free shit. It's not free shit. Do you have any idea the fucking hoops that I had to jump through to get that? Meanwhile, I was trying to get the one that Cricket claimed they have. Even if it's an ancient fucking piece of shit, at least it's a fucking smartphone. At least it's able to do a lot of the shit that I need it to do because I don't have computer access. Just because I have a fucking computer doesn't mean that I have a safe place to set it up and do what I need to do in peace and quiet without fear of victimization. Without fear that because I'm stuck in a subservient environment with a fucking power tripper or a fucking alcoholic or a goddamn meth addict. Fucking screaming at each other, beating on each other, abusing children, for Christ's sake. You goddamn right. I broke the fucking law, and I am fucking proud of it. Don't make me break the law to turn these predators in. I tried the legal route. These predators retaliated against me by taking away everything. By ordering me to do things that I was not capable of doing. Preservation of evidence should have been what's important. Nobody cared. It was about drama, for goddamn entertainment, for fucking crazy wingnuts on the goddamn internet. I am the fucking victim, not Natalie Bollinger. She deserved a bullet through her fucking head for what she did to me. Gang stalking me. Because I told the truth. She was hurt and I wasn't. The evidence showed I told the truth, but nobody cared. They just threw me away. And let these tweaker fucks do whatever they want to me. Do I like Christian? No! I can't fucking stand him. I can't fucking stand the sight of him. He fucking disgusts me. They all do. The only thing more fucking disgusting than a meth addict is a fucking alcoholic. Over half of all murder victims are drunk when they're killed. Over half of all murderers are drunk when they fucking kill somebody. You know, I didn't have to deal with a drunk dad raping me. I grew up in the system. I grew up with people who were abused by their parents, by their brothers, by their sisters, by their grandparents. I grew up with those kids hearing their horror stories and even being raped by some of them. Because while they're told it's bad, MK, they were taught differently. I say taught differently because they were shown differently. When they were raped, they ended up in a mental hospital. What did they learn from that? Rape victims go to mental hospitals. They didn't learn raping people is bad, MK. Boys, we have to be afraid to speak up. And you guys get to see why with my situation. A lot of people told me, hey, Sean, you know it ain't gonna work. You're a guy. Only women have rights in this country. Cops don't give a fuck about anybody in this country. All they care about is what a pretty white girl wants. And if you look at the way the laws are written now, yeah, pretty much. Because the law, as it is written, versus the law in reality, are nowhere near the same thing. We have good written laws. We have many, many good written laws. But you notice how, although it's illegal to harass somebody, they have to make special laws making it illegal to harass homeless people because we have to try to remind people that the homeless are still people. That, yeah, harassing people is wrong to do to the homeless too. But when you do that to a homeless person, they can sue you for up to $1,000. With what? Who's going to help them do that? You guys get to see how fucking impossible it is. At first, I needed help with having a place to process the evidence and get it sent to who it needed to, and it wouldn't have taken a whole lot. Sending enough to get an investigation started probably would have taken about an hour. There wasn't a whole lot of evidence that it would have taken because the crimes that were being committed against me, well, it was a lot. So going back and finding that stuff, you know, when you got an evidence backpack, that's the thing about the 16th of December of 2017, when it was supposed to be Natalie Bollinger meeting me. Well, she didn't actually meet me. It was a protection order. But you get to see in the text messages between her and I that I tried to do it at the police station. God damn it. I tried to do it the right way the whole time. Instead of working together to get a smooth fucking end of this goddamn bullshit. Natalie Bollinger wasn't willing to do it with the police at the police station. And I did try to get a hold of people so that it wouldn't be her word versus mine. But nobody showed up. Nobody fucking cared. Miss Peaches, well, she had to work, and she dropped me off there in Boulder. Because she worked in Boulder. When I made that 100-block walk, I did that twice, by the way. That was from Ken Wilson and Leatha Plunkett's in Englewood, Colorado, up Federal, to Miss Peaches on 120th and Melody. Straight as shot from one place to another. Quickest walk. Miss Peaches said she didn't think so. Well, she's never walked it. If you got a bunch of windy paths, yeah, that's going to add extra mileage. But I walked up Federal. I was surprised that Miss Natalie was in Colorado. I thought she was in Virginia. When it turned out to be a protection order, I was pissed off. I really was. I'd been trying to get a protection order against them for a long time. And instead of assisting me in getting a protection order against these predators, instead of assistance in turning these predators in, I got sent around and round and round and round in circles. Mental health, mental health, mental health, mental health. I tried going to my friends and family and explaining. I typed over and over and over again on my Facebook about these situations. And you know what? I tried to keep people's names safe at the beginning. I was trying to get their names to the police because they were willing to talk to the police. But the police, they were able to operate under color of law because none of my friends went in with me ever to help turn it in. After over a year of Miss Peaches claiming that she was going to help me turn it in, she was going to admit all of the parts that she was a part of. Well, she never kept her word. She ended up on my YouTube and my Facebook. Congratulations, you're a fucking dumbass. See, the thing is, although these people were willing to speak up, they were willing to talk to the police didn't try to contact them because my friends never helped me to get a fucking case started. They didn't understand that this has been ongoing for over a fucking year because they'd literally been ignoring me for over a year. When I was too injured to take care of myself and I needed help, none of them helped me. They told me what to do, what to think, what to feel, and stole my fucking money under false pretenses. And without a friend or family member to help turn it in, I had to go public. I was being victimized for over a year before Natalie's death, and nobody fucking cared then, and nobody fucking cares now. Every single one of these mandated reporters committed felonies because no friend or family member ever went in with me, informed, and fucking spoke up. They let these people fucking badger me if they went in. But you get to see the police's demeanor when somebody else is there with me. Laura Nelson is probably the biggest piece of shit other than Candace Bondurant in all of this. But Laura Nelson had a history of helping my predators to get away. As a Nebraskan, she was and is a mandated reporter. Now you can also hear and read the laws. You can read the laws, but you can also hear the alternate laws, apparently, that law enforcement keeps selling. And then, of course, they think that they're going to be able to keep it out of court because I recorded it. No. You were recorded committing felonies. You don't get to go away with no consequence. I will pursue you to the end of the earth to see that you see your day in prison, motherfucker. And if I'm lucky, I'll be put in a cell right next to you. If I'm real lucky, you're going to be my cellie and sleep on your belly. Although these are mandated reporters, government workers, they go into an alpha unit. An alpha unit doesn't mean that you're an alpha male and that you will dominate out on the yard. No, an alpha unit is pedophiles and public officials. Sometimes both at the same time. Because we all know that there's public officials in prison for having sex with kids. They get special treatment in the caudal zone, the alpha unit. Because if they go out on the yard, they'll be raped to death. If they put them in a regular pod, they'll be raped to death. You can't put them in G-pop or they'll be raped to death. G-pop is general population. Most of the time they call it general population, the inmates too. It's the ones who think they got swagger call it G-pop, which is always cute. I know how to be a hypocrite, and y'all have been noticing that, I'm sure. It should not have been necessary. It should not have been necessary for me to exhibit the behaviors that my predators exhibited in order for you to take it seriously. Oh, much better. I know how to be sexist. I know how to be racist. I've grown up with racism and sexism at the forefront of pretty much everything in this country. I know how. I'm just against that shit. Do I know how to be a hypocrite, or do I know how to be a hypocrite? Yeah, I chastise black people and white people. I'll chastise men and women. You notice that when I treat either one of these genders, The way that I'm treated, it's not real pleasant. If I repeat the things that some men say about women, or repeat the things that some women say about men, and I show how wrong they are, and I also show you the difference between if a woman says it versus a man. But you know what? When those people won't come forward and they don't stop to realize that I don't get to be selfish for them. Tabitha Michelle Cook wanted me to understand that she's selfish. Wanted to pretend that I'm a horrible person for posting up the truth. Because I wasn't thinking about her and her kids. No, I absolutely was thinking about her and her kids. And I was thinking about Shannon Alvarado and her kids. And Erin Cockerham and her kids. Carl Rogers and her kids. Candace Bondurant and her kids. Jerry Sparks and her kids. Jamie Curtis and her kid. Jamie Curtis didn't say that anybody threatened to kill her kid. The rest of them all did. Yeah, the Bollingers working people up with lies and slander. And all of the things that they did to try to prevent me from getting heard. All of the felonies that they committed. You want to talk about how internet stalkers need to be taken down, and then you pretend I'm an internet stalker? Well, I am now. Almost. I'm really just an internet harasser. I take enough harassment on here, I give a little bit of it back to these pieces of shit who claim to be my friends and family. If they don't fucking like it, maybe they should have paid attention to the fact that I posted up repeatedly and spoken up repeatedly about the fact that I don't give a fuck about your secrets. I'm going to keep myself, my friends, and my family as safe as I possibly fucking can. But I'm not going to sacrifice my sister and my niece for you and your kids. I'm not going to sacrifice Sarah Bacon and her kids. I'm not willing to sacrifice any of your kids, but all of you are willing to sacrifice your children. The ones in Nebraska are going to get it the worst, though. I mean, really, the law in Nebraska is that every person is a mandated reporter. If these people can call me mentally ill, then they're just reinforcing the fact that I need help when I am abused. You want to use my intelligence to deny my disabilities, and use my disabilities to deny my intelligence. And then instead of it actually being my disabilities, it's the disabilities that will benefit the cops the most. The cops that I was trying to turn in, who got to manipulate people into breaking the law for them. I never should have had to go to my predators for help, but that's who I was sent to repeatedly, forced to go back to Scott DaCosta. Forced to turn in paperwork to Scott DaCosta. Robert Franklin Mornick is one of the people that I tried to turn in a protection order against. You see how every one of these professionals deters me from turning in evidence at that point in time. And they force me to run around in circles. Do you know what it's like to have to be in Chapel, Nebraska when your predators are Scott DeCosta and his buddies? I had to coordinate to try to safely turn in my predators to the police and have it recorded. Because they do so often and so frequently break the law against the homeless. This is an everyday occurrence for the homeless. You don't stop to look at the reality of the situation. You don't stop to look at why it is that I was going to therapists for help. Those therapists wouldn't look at any evidence. The thing is, without looking at evidence, there's a lot of diagnoses that they're not capable of making. But here's the thing, by separating a person from evidence that police officers are breaking the law, if Scott DeCosta is able to lie and slander about evidence to illegally prevent me from speaking in court, showing evidence in court, showing up at my court dates. They had court dates without me. I was gaslighted in the jails and the prisons. I was sent to jails and prisons that I had tried to turn in, and every time, they use other jurisdictional officers or other police agencies. They get other police agencies involved. They show that they can do whatever they want with any officer, any agency, anywhere in the United States. Scott DeCosta showed that he could manipulate it with the state patrol, with Garden County sheriffs and deputies like Michelle Quinn. While I was in prison, and Scott DeCosta had utilized her and her department to commit felonies against me, they had already decided to send me to Lincoln, Nebraska, over 100 miles away, so that the people who should have been subpoenaed couldn't be subpoenaed to my court date as professionals because it was over 100 miles away. Well, how were they able to subpoena the people they did from Lincoln that were over 100 miles away? Oh, yeah, that's right. They were pretending to act in their professional capacity to catch a horrible criminal. And all of these predators use a reputation that was started by Natalie fucking Bollinger and Waylon Lolatai. But you don't stop to look at the fucking evidence. None of you stop to look at the evidence. I was called mentally ill, so you let them do whatever the fuck they wanted to me. That's not allowed, but the only way to stop them is for a friend or family member to help. Not pawn me off! Make the call with me, you piece of shit! You put my friends and family at risk by gaslighting me instead of helping me, by being selfish and pretending that your children are more important than mine. Because these are all my children. These are all children that these victims of other people, or supposed victims of other people, They wanted to put the responsibility of those children on me. They wanted to pretend like if I shut my mouth and just pretended that none of this happened. No, fuck you. I needed help stopping these predators, and every single one of my friends and family showed that they never fucking cared. If you have to pay somebody to care, they don't. Meanwhile, when I was in Colorado, all of those people could have been subpoenaed. The only way possible for Natalie Bollinger to fucking win in court was to illegally prevent me from going. Because of my technical disabilities, which I paid literally thousands of dollars to get help. Help me do this, please. I did try to get help. No one cared. They typed that they did, but they also talked over me, made zero effort to find out what was going on or how it was affecting me. Obviously, I was having a mental fucking breakdown from trying to get my friends to shut up. Oh, Sean, I can't bother to find out that people are threatening to kill you and fucking assaulting you. And that it is dangerous for you to come see me, Sean. I can't bother to hear that because I'm too fucking busy getting strung out on fucking meth. Thanks, Moose. AKA Brett Roloff. Posting up the names and the numbers of these victims. They're not victims. They are all predators. Every one of them showed that they were predatory towards me by lying to me about people threatening to kill them and their friends and family. Every one of them gaslighted me by saying those things. Every one of them proved it by never once making any attempt to turn it in with me. These people would only do these things in a way that there was literally no evidence. There is no evidence that Brandon Ratner, despite him lying on my channel and claiming that he went to the cops, there is ample evidence that I went to him for help before and after Natalie's death, in his own words. There is also ample evidence in his own words that he literally never made any attempt. Because although in his own words he claimed that he tried to turn this into the police claimed that he didn't. Claimed that I didn't even try to get help. Meanwhile, you can see how the abuse against me was mentally fucking affecting me. I get that that stupid fucking druggy cunt didn't get what she fucking wanted. But you know what? She chose her predators over a real friend. I'm expected to understand because they're her family. No. Understanding, yeah, I can understand why you did it. I understand, and I've understood since I was a child, that every single person that I am likely to meet is a coward. We're supposed to pretend that a woman is the victim and deny a man the right to even defend himself or show evidence. And when they target a disabled person who is not able to do this electronic shit, and they target a disabled person electronically. See, this is the thing, is that Natalie Bollinger and her friends and family actively stalked me for over a year before Natalie was killed. You get to see how my mental health fucking deteriorated from there. I didn't get in contact with Natalie Bollinger almost every day. I begged my friends and family to kill me nearly every single day for an entire year before Natalie Bollinger fucking got what I needed. I needed that. I needed my pain to end. The pain of my loved ones not even caring enough to hear what was going on. Just administering bullshit advice like you just need to love yourself. You just need to let it go. These people who get to see their friends and family every day, and my friends and family every day. They have no idea what social isolation is. And that when I was going to them for help, that I was losing my fucking mind over abuse. Over fucking non-stop fucking abuse. And goddamn, these motherfuckers fucked up when they threatened to kill my family and my friends. Did they bother to understand that me and Miss Jerry were not friends anymore? When they were calling me up and telling me they were going to kill her? See, that's the thing about being friends with anyone on Facebook. Before Natalie was killed, I had 350 friends. And I knew all of them in real life except one. If I didn't know you in person, there was no reason for us to be friends. But you guys don't bother to take a look at that. That's not what you wanted to take a look at. That's not what you cared about. What you cared about was finding tiny bits and pieces where I was having a mental fucking breakdown from abuse and screaming for fucking help, for God's sake. All my friends would talk about doing, if they made any effort whatsoever. No, they didn't, did they? With Joanna Taylor Smith, I was trying to get her to stop making suggestions. Stop making me fucking type it. Stop typing over me and taking everything out of fucking context. But you know what? She's a fucking pretty white girl. She has no fucking clue what it's like to have to work for a living. I don't know a single woman today who knows what it is like to have to endure this, because this is literally something that no woman on the planet has to deal with. Not one. You will literally let a female nurse kill over 100 babies. How many of you remember her name? By posting up the victims and their information, including their predators. If something does happen to them, first of all, it's their fault. They should have come forward in a safe way with me instead of forcing me to go public. Because forcing me to talk to the cops alone only resulted in abuse, and ignoring this is not a fucking option. It has not been an option since I left Virginia, and none of you cared to hear that. Joanna Taylor Smith, she called me up to talk over me and dismiss me and treat me completely like shit, like a fucking crackhead. Your pretty fucking words don't fix shit.
Bullshit, you dumb cunt. The only people that shit fucking works for are pretty fucking pampered, blue-eyed, blonde-haired, fucking white cunts like you, Joanna Taylor-Smith. You could have prevented Natalie's fucking death by being a real goddamn friend. Instead of literally dismissing every goddamn thing I said without letting me finish a single fucking sentence the entire goddamn time. Why do I scream for help? Because literally not one of you try to understand. Y'all tell me I should put myself in everybody else's shoes. Maybe if you stupid fucking cunts paid attention, you'd realize that I did. That I understand all of you. Every single one of you down to a fucking T. Those of you who I know in real life, I know your quirks. I know your motivations because I know you in person. I'm the guy you came to in Starbucks and told about every fucking piddly goddamn problem in your goddamn life. I listened to you fucking pussies bitch at me about your piddly fucking shit for years and years and years. And not once did any of you fucking pussies ever give a fucking shit about me. Why don't any of these people know shit about me? Because I was a good listener. If I was talking, I was trying to lighten the mood and make jokes. But not when somebody's telling me something fucking serious. No, don't try to lighten it up with a fucking joke. Shut the fuck up and take it serious. Miss Peaches didn't care. She didn't care how many people hurt me. She only cared to hide her name because she was ashamed. And yes, I chastise every fucking one of these goddamn pieces of shit for being a fucking coward, for letting people hurt me for fucking years, for hurting me for coming to them for help. Oh, you care. No, the fuck you don't. You never bothered to look at evidence. You never bothered to fucking speak up. Are you fucking retarded? And you want to treat me like I'm too retarded to know up from down, left from right. My predators were allowed to speak, and I was not. What horrible people you are. To allow an innocent man to be repeatedly violated as a human being. You have shown that you never thought of me as a human being. I was a tool in your fucking toolbox. I was a dumbass that you could ignore until, well, all of the people that you were partying with got sick of your fucking antics. You know who Ogre, that's Christopher Weaver, took all of his bullshit out on? When I helped him for 3 fucking months, while him and his ex were gonna pay me for that whole 3 months. I stayed out at where Ogre wanted me to stay and watch his dog so his dog didn't tear the place up. And of course, if need be, to be a babysitter for his daughter. First, they never paid me. Second of all, I was stranded out there without any friends or fucking family. The person who took me out there was Veronica Randall and Brandon Ratner. That's right. They helped me to move Ogre, aka Christopher Weaver. They've been a part of a lot of these stories. Of course, they've also both been involved in harming me for telling the truth. I don't give a fuck how embarrassed you are. People threaten to kill my friends and family. I don't give a fuck if Miss Jerry never talks to me a day in my fucking life. At the point that people were getting a hold of me and threatening to kill me and my friends and family, and naming specifically people like Miss Jerry Sparks. At that point in my life, I didn't want Miss Jerry Sparks involved in my life ever again. I had already decided at that point that I was fucking done with those people. Had it not been for Natalie Marie Bollinger getting 9mm through her fucking skull, none of those people would have been allowed back into my life. But after Natalie was dead, they showed true to their nature that the reason that they got blocked to begin with was still valid. It's either I let them bully me into doing what they want, or they treat me like I'm a horrible person. I either expend my resources on what they want, or I'm a horrible person. See, that's the thing about Miss Jerry. She grew up pretty. That's the thing about Lanny Ingline. She grew up pretty too. They're both getting older in years now, and their fucking petty tricks ain't gonna work for too much longer. Lanny Ingline found that out pretty quick when she became very, very fat, and nobody wanted her. But she still wants to act like Joanna Taylor Smith. She still wants to act like, because she's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman, that she's still pretty and should be entitled to that free shit for the rest of her life. No, 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 no. But she found a way to get that free shit, didn't she? Lana and I have some of the same disabilities. But how did she treat me over those disabilities versus her having them? How about Shea Burton? She's about a useless fucking twat. Is she a victim? No, she's not. Every bit of abuse that she got from Theo is karma for the fucking abuse that she gave people while she was dating him. She was a mean fucking person. She got off on it. She enjoyed it. But it wasn't her power to enjoy. She was hiding behind Theo. She could do and say whatever she wanted, she thought, because she was dating Theo, and Theo was big. Well, he sure fucking protected her, didn't he? Joanna Taylor Smith is a useless piece of shit. She's a dumb fucking cunt and a stupid twat. She didn't care who got killed. And of course, between telling the truth and seeing my corpse, she'd rather I killed myself, and she's shown that. Her and her boyfriend at the time, Derek Parrish, before Natalie was killed, gave me a ride up to Chapel, Nebraska. Yes, I paid them for it. And Joanna Taylor Smith was finally going to listen. But instead, she started talking, and Derek started talking, and every time I almost thought I'd get to say something, they'd start talking. I spent the last hour of the ride with my mouth shut, wishing that someone would kill me. They'd shown me that I meant absolutely nothing to them. Nothing.
when they try to throw it in my face that they gave me a ride to Chapel, Nebraska. What they're neglecting is the fact that
You're good.
trash guy's here. Sometimes my phone falls off there. See, that's the thing about being nice to people is that I just get pushed over. I don't fucking matter. Christopher Weaver never cared about me. He cared that nobody else would fucking help him. All these fucking pieces of shit that nobody would help him but me.